What's going on, trappers? Welcome back to JWell Trap TV. If you want to help Tariq, Brayden, and I get Noma's profits, make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live and make a new video. You wouldn't want me to end up like her. Let's go. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to JWell Trap TV. I'm so excited to be back in the Power universe because we got bodies. Welcome back to Power Book 2, Season 3. Episode 1. This episode is called Your Perception, Your Reality. So we start this episode off 3 months ago in a flashback with Davis McLean. He has that ring that Tariq gave him and he's fencing it out to an associate. We switch to present day now and we are at an auction house. We see card 208 purchase the ring for $5.5 million. As this is all going down, we have a new character, Noma, watching all this. Card 208, he leaves the auction house and he proposes to his girlfriend Claire with the ring. And then next thing you know, after she says yes, we see Noma's crew walk up. And I'm telling you, these guys, they had a Wakanda vibe. They walked up, they came out that portal, they pulled out that Wakandan steel, and they just let her have it. They sliced her arm right off. Once Noma slices off her hand, she takes the ring off the finger and puts it on her own finger, and her goons kill the couple, and we end the scene. So now we switch to the Stansfield dorms, and we got Tariq. Tariq, he's in here with Effie, and he's looking at some old family photos of him and his sister, him and his mom. And then one of the photos comes up and it's him and Lauren. Effie sees this and she tells Tariq that even though she transferred from Yale to Stansfield and they spent a lot of time during the summer, that's probably gonna change and there's gonna be some distance. Tariq asks why, and she says that she wants some independence and she doesn't wanna be known as just Tariq's girl. Tariq says he wants her to be independent too, and he says that she has been the only one there for him and that he trusts her. At this point, Mrs. Weston and Brayden's sister Becca come into the room, and Mrs. Weston's not happy to see Tariq here. She's telling him that he was supposed to be gone yesterday. She's still upset and butthurt because Brayden got expelled indefinitely from the school. Becca says that Brayden made her own choices, and Tariq says that he's still here because the school has not yet given him a new room assignment. Mrs. Weston still wants Tariq out, and Tariq assures her that he's packing his bags, and we end the scene. We go to the Tejada house, and we have Davis McLean visiting. He comes in to let Monet know that she inherited Mecca's penthouse. Monet doesn't really care about the penthouse. She wants to know the progress of the investigation into Zeke's murder. Davis says that he hasn't heard anything, but he will keep his ear out. Davis leaves and then Lorenzo tries to chill Monet out. Monet's not interested in being chilled out. She tells Lorenzo that he needs to be finding out who killed Zeke. That's pretty funny because we all know that Lorenzo is the one who killed Zeke, so he can't really find himself, right? Lorenzo says that he's doing everything he can, and he asks about the penthouse, says that he doesn't want to live in another man's house. Monet says that she's going to sell the penthouse, and she tells Kane and Drew that they can live there until she gets it on the market. We go to Weston Holdings, and Robert Weston is leading Brayden and Trace into the building. He's letting Brayden know that he tarnished the family name and that he's going to have to work here now until Stansfield reinstates him. He lets them know that this is his last chance, and if he screws up, he's gonna disown him. Brayden links up with his uncle Lucas, and Robert asks Lucas to kind of show Brayden the ropes. Lucas takes Brayden to his office, and he tells Brayden that he thinks course correct was genius, but he thought it was stupid that he admitted guilt in public. He tells Brayden that he sees potential in him, and he introduces him to Kiki Travis. He asks Kiki to look after him and train him. So now we go back to the Tejada house, and Diana tries to bring Monet some food because she's still in a bad mood. Monet doesn't really look at Diana, and she tells her that she doesn't want any food. Diana takes the food back into the kitchen, and she slams it into the sink and breaks a plate. She then goes to talk to her father, and she vents to her father that she feels like Monet thinks that she is responsible for Zeke's death, and really that it's Monet who's responsible because she's the one who pushed him away. Lorenzo says that he made some calls and got Diana into Stansfield. Said he paid her room, board, and tuition, but she'll have to take care of the rest. Diana doesn't know how to accept this at first, but then we end the scene with her going to Stansfield. We now switch to Rashad Tate meeting Dean Wong at Stansfield. Tariq comes up and asks about his housing situation, and Dean Wong lets Tariq know that some alumni and students do not feel safe with Tariq being on campus. Tate tells Wong to cut the shit, and that if he doesn't get Tariq housing, that he's gonna tell his supporters that Stansfield is mistreating black students. Wong says he will see what he can do, but that if Tariq does anything else, his hands will be tied. Tariq asks Tate if he owes him for this favor, and Tate says he will need Tariq's skill set because he's starting this campaign again. Now we come in on Everett and Drew in an elevator, and we're going to Mecca's old penthouse. We come in, and it looks like Kane is throwing a party. Kane approaches Drew, and he lets know that he has a new connect here to do business with. He brings in Drew for a sit down with the new connect, Kai. It turns out Kai, the new connect, wants 60% and cash up front for any new business. Kane and Drew are not comfortable paying him 60%. They just want to come up with the cash up front and keep all of their profits. Kai says that he's in high command, he doesn't see any connects here, and the 60% stands. Drew tries to meet him halfway and offers him 30%, but Kai still says no. He says he wants 60% or no product, and he gets up and he leaves. Everett comes up, and Kane is a little shocked to see him. He says that he's going home, and Drew says that he's gonna join him. Kane is a little upset because he wants Drew to stay here to conduct business, but Drew says that he will be back tomorrow. We go back to Tariq, who's going home to the dorms, and he's surprised by Bash outside. Bash is threatening him, and he's telling him that he has 7 days to give him money, or he's gonna go to the NYPD and tell them that Tariq was really the creator of Course Correct. Tariq says he doesn't have any money, but Bash says that he never told him the true nature of Course Correct, and now that he's divorced by Stern, he needs cash. Tariq says he doesn't have any money, but Bash's threat stands strong. We now go with Brayden and Tariq to see Kane at the penthouse. We get there and Kane is a little paranoid. He asks them if they came in through the back entrance, which Brayden replies and says yes. Kane then asks them what they're here for, and Tariq gets upset at Brayden because he's like, hold on a second, I thought we were about to talk business. I thought Kane wanted to meet us for business, but it looks like Brayden kind of exaggerated and set this up so they can get them all in the same place at one time. Kane says that Brayden and Tariq are too hot to do business with. Tariq agrees that they are too hot to do business at this time, but then Kane says that if he would do business with anyone in their crew, it would be with Effie. Tariq squares up on Kane and he tells Kane that he needs to keep Effie at his mouth. And before Kane can reply, all of a sudden we see the Wakandans come back in. They shut the power off, they come in with guns, and they put all of our heroes on their knees. Noma walks in and she wants answers on why Mecca, her first lieutenant, was killed. She says that she needs her product and her profits. She also says that Mecca was her fiance. She brings out Rocky and she asks her what happened to Mecca. She says that she doesn't know, and then she throws a body bag in front of him, and then she's shot in the back of the head. Tariq, Kane, and Brayden make promises for their lives to replace Mecca and start running distribution in New York for Noma. They sell themselves as versatile distributors who have contacts with multiple levels of government and police in the city. Noma says they have 30 days to make her profit or she will kill them, and she also tells them that anyone with information on what happened to Mecca will get a huge payday. We go back to the Tejadas and Kane fills them in on the Noma situation. He says that Noma has given them enough product to take over the city. Lorenzo isn't down with this and he wants to kill Noma. He says that it'll be stupid to go back to working for someone who worked with Mecca again. Monet says that she wanted out of the game and now she's back in, so they need to figure it out. Lorenzo still isn't sold and he's saying that he's not gonna jump for Kane just because he said jump. Kane then tells Drew that Noma really will kill all of them and they need to get this done. Drew says they'll talk to Lorenzo about coming around. We now go to Davis McLean's office and Tariq comes in. He shows Davis an article on his phone of the couple that was murdered by Noma's crew. He also lets them know that they now have to work for Noma or else they're gonna get killed and he's gonna need him on standby. Davis says he loves working for Tariq because he pays him in cash, but then Tariq says that he's not gonna pay him this time, that his discretion is gonna be payment because Noma wants to know how the ring ended up at the auction house. I think that was a nice play by Tariq, because your boy Davis is expensive. He be wanting $500,000. Tariq then asks Davis to look into who's watching Kane's penthouse since Kane was so paranoid. We also see that Sax is outside trying to ear hustle in on what's going on between Davis and Tariq. We go back to Stansfield and it looks like Diana is moving in with Becca. Becca confronts Diana on being a Tejada and she lets her know that her parents wouldn't be happy knowing that she is here. Diana confronts her on being a Weston and lets her know that her parents wouldn't be happy knowing that Becca's here, considering all the snitching that Brayden did in public. So we go to class and we're in American Psyche with the new professor, Professor Bennett. Tariq comes in, he sees Diana and they sit down next to each other. He is surprised to see that Monet let her be here. He asks her about it and she says that Monet doesn't need to know all of her moves. She asks Tariq if they're good from last season. And Tariq says that he's fine, doesn't care about that, as long as she doesn't do it again. It turns out that Professor Bennett has handpicked this class, and the class begins a discussion. We get introduced to a TA named Salim Freeman. Talk about perception in America, and then Zeke's case comes up. Tariq asks if they can change the perception of how people view Zeke as far as the rumors go. So now we go to a conference room at Weston Holdings. We get introduced to some new folks, Wyatt and Liam. Not sure what the third guy's name is. Let me know if you know in the comments. These dudes appear to do coke all day while they're working on the job. They offer Brayden some coke, but Brayden's like, oh, I'm good. And they make a joke that, oh, the seller doesn't use. After these guys keep cooking Brayden for a little bit, Trey stands up for Brayden and he lets know that these guys all get paid by Brayden's family. We end the scene with Brayden forgetting some papers. He goes back to his desk and we find Bash there, probably there to exploit him the same way he's trying to do Tariq. We are now walking down the street with Effie and Kane pulls up. He asks her to get in the car and she says no. He tries to tell her that Tariq is cutting her out of the new business they're doing. And she says that's bullshit because her and Tariq are on the same page. Kane asks Effie if Tariq knows that she came to Kane about Lauren. Kane gets a message from Brayden and he says that he wants to meet up with her later, but she just keeps on walking. We now switch to Davis McLean going down the street and he ambushes his brother's doctor. He asks about Theo and it turns out Theo has about 6 months to a year to live because he has hepatitis B in his liver. Davis wants to donate his liver, but the doctor says that it's not compatible because of the hepatitis B. Davis says that there has to be something that they can do, probably try some new kind of trials or some type of new medicine. And the doctor does say that one of his colleagues does have some promising trials that they can try, but that he needs to get his brother out of jail for him to be able to be eligible for those trials. Davis says he's going to work on it. Davis then calls Sachs and he asks him about Theo's appeal. Sachs is hanging out with Jenny and he says he has a copy of his case file, but half of it is redacted. Davis tells him to get on it and get it unredacted, and he also asks him to find out who's watching Mecca's penthouse. Sachs asks him who the request is for, but Davis says to charge it to miscellaneous, but we really know it's for Tariq. We now switch to Jenny and Sachs. Jenny wants to know why the Theo case is so important to Davis. She also wants Sachs to help her get evidence connecting Tariq to the Tejadas. Seems like she's using Sachs. She asks him if he's still committed to finding Lauren's killers, and Sachs says that he is committed and he's risking his law license to help her. He says that Davis is working with Tariq again, and when she asks what they were saying, he says that he wasn't invited to the meeting. Jenny starts to get annoyed with the lack of evidence that Sachs is providing, and she starts to leave. Sachs asks why they're not having sex anymore, and she says that she only gets horny when he presents evidence to her. Sachs then asks Jenny to look into who is watching Mecca's penthouse. He tells her that if he can get more information for Davis, he will trust him more and he will be able to help her. Jenny asks if Sachs is playing her, and he says no. So now it's nighttime, and we go to Brayden. He's meeting with Kane. He's asking Kane if he can kill Bash. Kane is against killing Bash. Kane tells Brayden that Bash is his problem and he should do it. Brayden tells Kane that he killed Lauren for him and that he needs this favor. Kane says that this is his problem, but if he does it, that Brayden's gonna need to come with him. We now go to Tariq meeting Bash at his house. Tariq tells Bash that he's forming a new business startup that will be generating a lot of cash, and he will need Bash to clean it. Bash tells Tariq that he's not interested in sweat equity, and we end that scene. We go back to Brayden and Kane, and Brayden is giving Kane intel on how to get up into Bash's room. He tells Kane there's going to be lots of security and he needs to be careful. Kane says change of plans and that he's going to have Brayden kill Bash. He tells him he's going to walk him through it and hold his hand the entire way. At that moment, when someone leaves the building, Kane holds the door open so they can go sneak up. We go back to Tariq and Bash is ridiculing Tariq's offer. He starts to compare Tariq to Ghost, and he tells him that his dad was just a drug dealer in a Tom Ford suit, and that Tariq is the same thing posing as an Ivy League student. He tells Tariq that if he doesn't do what he says, he can ruin his life, and that he owns Tariq. At this moment, Tariq tells him to shut up, and he grabs a knife and he stabs him. Bash is killed, and as Tariq comes to terms with everything, Kane and Brayden come to the door. At this point, Kane and Brayden help Tariq cover up the body. We go to Jenny's office, and Blanca comes in. She's wondering why Jenny is calling her DEA boss asking information about who's watching Mecca's penthouse. They talk to each other about each other's history, investigating Tariq, and Jenny says that she wants to bring down Tariq and the Tejados using a RICO case. She also says that she has a CI embedded in Tariq's organization. She says that she wants everything to be rock solid this time because she got her ass kicked in court last time. She asks Blanca if she can get a joint local and federal task force set up. Blanca's in agreement and they start to move forward on getting the RICO case. We now see Tariq getting ready to speak at Zeke's Jersey dedication. Effie asks Tariq if people are going to listen to him, and Tariq says that they have to because they're a captive audience. He says he has to do this because he doesn't want to get kicked out by the dean and he's trying to change his image. Effie asks Tariq where he was earlier and if he was with Diana, who was preparing the event. Tariq says no, that he was with Brayden. Tells her that he was handling business, and he finally tells her the truth about the new connect they're working with. He says that he was trying to keep her at a distance because he feels responsible for Lauren's death, and he feels like people around him end up dying. Effie says Lauren's death wasn't his fault. Tariq says that she would not have had the run if it wasn't for him. Effie lets him know that she appreciates him trying to protect him, but that she doesn't need protection and that she wants to help. And it looks like Tariq is going to let her help out with this new organization he's setting up. Now we're going to the event, and as the event is starting, we see Tate and his girlfriend pass Professor Bennett. And Professor Bennett bumps into them, and they catch up for a second. Seems like they had some kind of previous history going on, and Tate says that he's going to connect with her later. We get to the event inside the gym, and Diana catches up with Lorenzo. Lorenzo asks Diana if she set up this entire event, and Diana says yes, and Lorenzo lets her know that he is proud of her. Diana's looking over at Monet, but Monet is still distraught with grief, and she's not looking back at Diana at all. Diana goes to sit down, and Salim comes to sit over next to Diana. It looks like he's going to be the love interest for her this season. Tate is leading the event, and he calls on Little Mo for the singing tribute. She sings, and after her song, they present Monet with Zeke's jersey. We also see that the campus is retiring Zeke's jersey. And while all this is going on, Monet eventually can't take it all, and she gets up with the jersey, and she goes out of the stadium, and she breaks down. I think it's crazy that she lost her son right after she told him of his true heritage. Tariq comes out and he gives his speech. He tells everyone that Zeke was indeed a great person and he tries to clear up his name. He tells everybody that Zeke was not a killer, and he does get heckled during his speech. At this point, Tariq does say that he himself is innocent and he's done nothing wrong. But as he says he's innocent, he has a flashback to all the murders he has committed. As Tariq leaves, he sees Monet in the same corner, and he goes up to console her. Monet says that she's the reason that Zeke died, and she says that Tariq was the only one with her the night that he was killed, and she wants Tariq to look into his murder. We see Lorenzo walk by, but he doesn't come in, but he knows that she is probably asking Tariq to find out who Zeke's killer is. Tariq agrees to help, and we leave the scene. So now we go back to Jenny's office, and we find out that Detective Whitman has been the guy who's been out watching Kane's penthouse. Whitman is still trying to figure out who killed Carrie. Jenny tells him to stop investigating the Tejadas, and he gets up and he leaves. We now go with the whole crew, Tariq, Kane, Effie, Brayden, and we're meeting at the new stash house. We meet up with Obi, who is Noma's goon, and we have a warehouse full of drugs. This is the most weight I've ever seen in Power. Obi reminds them of what will happen to them if they can't move the weight, and Effie asks Tariq if they should really be doing this business with the Tejadas because they can't trust them. Tariq assures her that this is the only way they can move the weight. Kane and Brayden walk up and they say they gotta figure out this operation really fast. We now switch to Jenny. She's pulling up to a house. Looks like it has some security outside. And we go inside the house and we find out that Lauren is alive and well and has been faking her death this entire time. Lauren asks Jenny how much longer she's gonna need to fake her death for, and then we end the episode. All right, guys, so that's it. That's Power. That's Power Book 2, Episode 1, Season 3. All right, guys, thank you guys for watching. Next week, I'll have this video a lot faster, a little difficult coming off of BMF. Got a lot of stuff going on, but next week, we'll have this out a lot faster, guys. So what do you guys think so far? What do you guys think? Who do you guys think the criminal informant is? Who is the criminal informant? Is it Effie? Is Effie the criminal informant that Jenny is talking about? Or is it gonna be, are they gonna try to stick Lauren in as a criminal informant? And then also too, Jenny is pretty bad. She's over there trying to make Stacks feel bad about this whole situation, saying that don't you wanna help find out who committed Lauren's murder this whole time, knowing that she's been hiding her for the last 3 months? That's crazy. And then also this new connect, Noma. This lady's crazy, man. I told you they came in like Wakandans, turning off the security systems, cutting off arms. They got a whole warehouse full of drugs nobody knows about. These guys are crazy. These guys are gonna be hard to take down. And Lorenzo. How are we gonna find out that Lorenzo killed Zeke? How are we gonna figure that one out? No one's seen that. So, and it was so far away. It was at the airport. It was in the hangar. So how are we gonna figure out that it was him? Is he gonna slip up? How are Kane and Tariq gonna get along? You seen they almost got into like a little bit of a scuffle right there when Kane said something about Effie in the penthouse right before Noma's crew came in there. I wonder how that's all gonna go down. All right, guys, so keep it locked. I'm your boy, Jay Well. Make sure to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and put a notification bell so you know when I go live or make a new video. All right, guys, peace.